Esselamu Aleyküm ve Rahmetullah. Euzu billahi mineşşeytanirracim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Allahümme nevvir kulubena bi nuril imani vel Kur'ani vel İslami bis saadeti ves selameti ves sıhhati vel afiyeti vel ihlası ves sabri ve sekine. Allahümme erinel hakka hakkan verzukna ittiba'ah وارنا الباطل باطلا وارزقنا اجتنابه ربنا آتنا من لدنك رحمة وهيئ لنا من أمرنا رشدا لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم ربنا اغفر لنا وارحمنا وأنت خير الراحمين آمين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Inshallah, we will continue studying the Furqan, section Furqan of the Quran, and we studied last week the verse 59. And this verse was mentioning about Ar-Rahman, and ask then about him, the one who is truly aware. He is the most gracious one, most merciful one. Now the subject is turning around. God is the merciful one. So rather than using the word Allah, the Quran uses Ar-Rahman rather than God, but the merciful one. And still, the verse 60 continues about using the word Ar-Rahman and emphasizing on the importance of the mercy of God and how it is related to our life. We will see it, inshallah, slowly. Now, let's read the verse 60. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمُ اسْجُدُوا لِلرَّحْمَنِ قَالُوا وَمَا الرَّحْمَنُ نَسْجُدُ لِمَا تَأْمُرُونَ وَزَادَهُمْ نُفُورًا. Now, it's very interesting. So this is a sajda ayah. So inshallah, afterwards, we will make our sajda after the class. Oh. Now, yet when they are told, prostrate yourself before the most merciful. And they say, and who is the most merciful? Should we prostrate ourselves before whatever you command us? And it has increased them in repulsion. Why it increases? We will talk about it, but let's understand the verse. First, it says he is a Rahman in the previous verse, and you have to ask him about what the reality of our existence is, or ask the creation about its creator. And you will find that its creator is a merciful one. That's what our minds were prepared to see, that creation realized by a merciful creator. So this verse also continues, says, prostrate yourself before the most merciful. It means submit yourself to him, which practically means realize that your existence is from the most merciful one. And they say, who is the most merciful? Now we will talk about them, about this matter. And should we prostrate ourselves before whatever you command us? And because the prophet gives the message and asks them to the message. God sends revelation, asks them to submit yourself, prostrate yourself, humble yourself, understand that you are created. So, and say, prostrate before your creator, and he is the most merciful one. But they say this offer increase them in repulsion, rejection. Now let's go to the items here. Inshallah, one. What is the reason the disbelievers are asked to prostrate before the most merciful rather than prostrate before God? Now, and I have put a note there, remember the verse before, because we are expected to investigate that the source of existence of this universe is a merciful one. Of course, we understand from here something related to mercy. And how are we going to connect this understanding, prostrating ourselves before the most merciful one or merciful? Why not God? What do you think? Any comment to share, inshallah? Why mercy, not God, merciful one, but God? Now, we have to connect the verses with each other. So previous verse reminded us that ask the merciful one if you want to question, if you want to get an answer for your questions. Of course, existential questions, essential questions. Ask the merciful one. Now we understand here, and the following verses as well, we have to see, or one has to see mercy in the creation of everything so that we will understand that creation is the result of mercy, and we cannot find mercy in lifeless matter, blind matter. We cannot mercy that. If we, let's talk about ourselves, if we don't see mercy in the creation of anything, then we don't want to prostrate ourselves before him. That is why it didn't say God, because God is the creator of the universe, but we may encounter with some events that we don't like, maybe hurting events. We call them just the misfortunes. Happens sometimes. If we don't see mercy in their existence, the way it is created, then we don't prostrate ourselves before its creator. That is why God, the concept of God, is not used here. Because saying that God created the universe, you may criticize God. If you don't see mercy, if we don't see mercy in the creation of anything we don't like, so seeing the mercy in creation, or the creation is taking place as a result of mercy, then we will find ourselves in trouble, especially when we encounter something we don't like, happened we don't like. This is very important for me, and I would like to share. That's why I wanted to share with you, because if everything goes right, no one questions. Even we don't wake up. If there is no event that really hurts us or prevents, hinders our expectations, then we start questioning. I think the creation of the things, we call them disasters or anything misfortune for us, we say, oh, I'm not lucky, but look, I'm suffering from whatever. Anything, we have to see that this event is created as a result of mercy, especially when something that we don't like is created. We have to definitely see, we need to see definitely the mercy in its creation. If we fail to see mercy in its creation, then we never solve our problems, and we never really prostrate ourselves, submit ourselves to the creator of this event. We rebel, we question, maybe sometimes we reject. Most of the people nowadays speak a lot saying, if God that you think, you claim, some people claim that the creator, oh, there is a creator of this universe and he is a merciful one, he created everything out of mercy. And the counter argument is raised. If God was the God that you claim to exist, was merciful one, which kind of events are happening here? You see the war conditions, you see these calamities, and we start questioning, unfortunately. That is why the Quran emphasizes on the word mercy. Uh, Other creations that we like, we enjoy, we don't question. We just take it for granted. I do most of the time. When something happens I don't like, then I start questioning, why did it happen? What is the reason behind it? What is the purpose? Why am I in this position? Which kind of creator he is? He created me and didn't create what I want, something else, or just opposite. That is why we have to train ourselves, educate ourselves to understand the wisdom, the mercy in the creation of the events that we don't like. And we have to say, Alhamdulillah, it was a wake-up call. Thank you, God. It was a wake-up call for me. Because all the things, all the time, most of the time, majority, great majority of the time, happens to me, and I benefit from them, enjoy them, and I never think about it. I took it for granted. Usually I take it for granted. Now you woke me up. Thank you. That's a merciful creation. But in general, we have to see that the creation of the universe is nothing but out of mercy. And when it comes to the specific events that wakes us up, then we can easily see mercy in their creation. Any question, any concern, any comment about the first item? If not, I will go to the second item. Now, they say, who is the most merciful one? Why should we prostrate before ourselves, before whatever you command us? Now, who is commanding them to prostrate? Why do they say whatever you command us? Any comment? Now, whatever you command us, if you don't speak, I will continue. They think the prophet himself, the messenger himself, or, for example, you and I are speaking to someone, and we may tell them that, look, we are created, we need to be created, we have to submit our existence to it. It means prostrating ourselves before him. And also try to connect our existence to him and live accordingly. Don't claim anything happening by itself and or accidentally, because it cannot. Isn't that so? We have to be thankful to this Creator. And they may think that we are either ordering them to do that, this command is coming from us, or we are asking them to join our group, our community, and be one of us. That may be usually the case. And while the prophet was delivering the message, uh, it must have happened that they say, why do should we prostrate ourselves before whatever you command us? You command us. Now, أنسجد لما تأمرنا. They think that you are, or the prophet himself is ordering, because they don't think that God is ordering and the prophet is just conveying the message. Or we have to make sure from this verse, then we have to make sure while we are, if you like, speaking to people, conveying the message to them, while we are doing this mission, we have to be very careful with our language, and we have to present the case in such a way that the addressee, the person we are speaking to, or the people we are speaking to, we have to put them in connection with God. So your creator, think about it, and you have to submit your existence to him. And you have to, of course, use your feelings in gratitude to him. But think about it. Don't say that I am asking you. No. Is it true or not? Think about it. You and your source of existence, your creator, and put yourself in connection with him. We have to be careful with our language, otherwise they may think that we are just really recruiting them uh, in our group, in our community. That is why when we convey the message, we shouldn't really behave like the missionaries. We have to be careful. Missionaries call you to join them. Now, whatever the missionary, whether Muslim missionary or Christian missionary, which is very famous, and thank God that the Jews don't have missionary activities. So we have to be careful while we are speaking about this sensitive point. We should not act as a missionaries and use the missionary language. We have to just leave people on their own and say, think about it and get in contact with your creator. And if you don't accept the creator, uh, then find out your source of existence and refer your existence, your being to him and be thankful to him. They will understand. Can I be thankful to natural laws, for example? They will understand that this idea is meaningless. How can I be thankful to natural laws? How can I be thankful to matter which developed my feelings? Doesn't make sense. Only the one who is a conscious, absolute being, if we understand that the creation is realized by a conscious being, then I can communicate with this conscious being because he gave me this sense consciously. Otherwise, I cannot claim that or think that consciousness comes out of matter. So, any comment or question? Otherwise, three. That is an important point. This not to use the missionary language. Otherwise, they will think that we are really recruiting them in our group, and they will be following us, Muslim community. No, they will be following their creator. We are asking them to contact with their creator, not my creator. Quran is very sensitive. Quran never used that. Believe in my Lord. Always uses the Quran when the prophets convey the message to others. They say, believe in your Lord, your Lord. If you pay attention to the Quran, for example, فما لي لا أعبد الذي فطرني وإليه ترجعون. Uh, there was another verse. There are many. Your Lord, Rabbuka. And Musa reminds Firaun, for example, can I remind you your Lord, not me. No, not me, your Lord, not my Lord, your Lord. It is at the same time my Lord, but it is my Lord, but it concerns me. As far as you are concerned, you have to worship and submit yourself to your Lord. So you have to recognize and thank him. Recognize him and thank him. Be grateful to him. Now, the third item, why has it increased their repulsion when they are asked to prostrate before the merciful one? Any idea? Any? No? Okay. I will share my idea. In English, there is an expression, truth hurts. Truth hurts. I think this is the answer. That is how I feel it. Because when you tell them, you have to understand that every day you are swimming in the manifestation of mercy, using, benefiting everything that is provided for you. And you don't really thank for him. That is why you don't want to acknowledge, because you are so arrogant. You don't want to humble yourself. You don't want to accept yourself. When you remind that, no, look at your creator is merciful, isn't it? What have you been doing for years and years and years? Which kind of universe you are living in? And everything is provided for you freely. And you haven't been grateful at all to the one who created it, provided it, because it's a conscious action. You know that. Deep down, everybody knows that the creation is a conscious action, deliberately arranged, cannot be accident. Although they may claim something just to justify their arrogance. When you say, look, your creator, for example, if you say, why don't you accept Islam? They may have lots of reason to come up with a counter argument. That is why we shouldn't speak in this way. If you just say, worship God, God is up there, I don't know, but merciful one, how do we know he is merciful? Because of his creation. He is there. And everybody remembers that, yeah, everything is freely provided for me. It is not difficult at all to understand this. So it is a beautiful way of uh, really understanding the message of the Quran here. Yeah. وَإِذْ قِيلَ لَهُمُ اسْجُدُوا لِلرَّحْمَنِ. When they are told, prostrate yourself before the most merciful. Every day you are using his property, his mercy. Oh, and they say, yeah, really, freely. Everything is, all universe is for me, freely. I am here as a host. And if they don't want to submit themselves, it will hurt, because this is the truth. They know that it is the truth. Everybody knows. Everybody knows that it is the truth. If we think ourselves also, we will know it. All right, inshallah, this is like every verse. It's a very, very nice verses, and very delicate message that we are learning from this. Alhamdulillah. If no comment, I will move to the next one, inshallah. Yeah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. تبارك الذي جعل في السماء بروجا وجعل فيها سراجا وقمرا منيرا. Now, Quran is a very concise book, very concise. If it is possible, Arabic grammar wise, I noticed this in the Quran, by using one letter less conveys the same message. Then Quran prefers to use one letter less. It is the precision in the conciseness of the Quran, we notice. So, there is no further argument about the previous verse, but as if subject changed, as if the matter is cut off without being settled down. Suddenly, blessed is he who has placed constellations in the sky, radiant light and illuminating moon. What is it to do with the previous sentence, previous verse? You see, there seemed to be no connection, but we understand that what was the subject. Now, the previous one says, ask the most merciful one about the reality from his creation, or whatever the reason you have within yourself maybe. And then, and prostrate yourself before the merciful one, because everything is mercy for you. Now it says, Tebarakalladhi. Let me give you some examples of the manifestations of mercy for you. You see the connection? Blessed is he who has placed constellations in the sky, radiant light and illuminating moon. Sirajan ve kamera munira. It's a beautiful verse. So you see that is in the following verse starts mentioning about the manifestations of the merciful creation, or creation out of mercy. Did we really arrange the sky? Did we really arrange the moon, the sun? Now we can come back. Did we arrange the atmosphere? Did we arrange the earth, the mountains, the oceans, the water? Did we arrange all our members of our body? Did we arrange the feelings within ourselves? Have we? So these are all freely given to us, provided for us, and drawing our attention now to see the mercy in creation, reminding us so that we will say, yeah, the human beings, of course, if they are not really biased, uh, didn't condition themselves that I'm not going to acknowledge the creator. So this arrogant attitude, they will, every human being says, yeah, really, who has created this beautiful sky, wonderful sky? And the example of the sky is sun and the moon, the planets and the stars, and the relationship between sun, the moon, and the other planets and the world, the earth, globe of earth, representation of the constellations. So I wrote some notes here. Again, I will continue if you keep quiet. Without answering the question asked in the previous verse, this verse goes on to say, he who has placed. In this context, the Quran doesn't use the word of God, the same reason as it uses merciful one in the previous verse. Tebarakalladhi, describes, blessed is he who has done all this for you. Now think about it. Think about it. Who is doing that? It makes sense to me here. Who is doing that? It's an invitation for me as well. I have to think about it every moment. Anytime I have to think what's going on. The rain comes, the winter comes, the spring is coming, and there's all arrangements between the sun and the planets, and especially planet of Earth, perfectly arranged. So I have to think, who is doing this? That's why Quran doesn't use God in this verse. الذي, it is who that does all this. Now, actually, the best translation will be blessed is the one who has placed. Blessed is the one who has. That means تبارك الذي جعل في السماء. الذي جعل, who has. Blessed is the one who has. Now, anyway, the question two, if we pay attention to it, we will understand how these arrangements are very important in the Quran. Now, item two, I'm reading. The Quran gives as an example of the sun and the moon to represent the constellation. That is also presented here. Sirajan ve kameran munira. The Quran usually mentions the particulars to refer to the general. Do you understand? This is a very essential principle in reading the Quran. Quran, uh, most of the cases, uses the examples of particulars, specific event, specific creation, like usually gives us teaches us how we should speak and we should practice in our life for ourselves and speak to other people with their examples that they are familiar with. So the first revelation took place in a community and gives the examples from there. Now, the first addressee of the Quran are Bedouin Arabs, and they are always with dates, camels, and sometimes with other fruits as we're familiar with them. Quran gives examples about dates. How many times? How many times? Dates, grapes. How many times? Why? Because the people need particular example that they are experiencing now. For example, where I am now in New York, I don't see any date palms. So what I learned from the Quran, I have to speak to people with what they are having every day: apple, banana, oranges, tangerines, mandolins. Now we have to understand that we have to speak in practical terms. So the example is given here, the sun and the moon. Why? In the Quran also, on many occasions, sun and the moon, sun and the moon, day and night. Let me see this following verse. Yeah, it will come. It will come. Yeah, we understand why. Because everybody now and then experiences sun and moon. Clouds. How many times clouds are mentioned? Because we may be not paying attention to clouds here, but in desert living conditions, clouds are so important. Clouds means the rain will come, and also rain is striking for them. We are complaining about rain here. When the news of rain comes, it is a great news for them. Glad tidings, they say, Bushra, for them. For us, oh, it's going to rain again. It is not bright today. We complain. So we have to be careful, how blessings these creations are for us. Anyways, now, this is the principle. For example, give us the example of Moses in certain cases. Example of Noah in another certain case. Example of Abraham in another certain case. Suleiman, anyway, other prophets, Jesus. But all the prophets, they are mentioned in the Quran. Yusuf, I don't know, Job, Ayub, Yunus, specific example is given by mentioning one person experiencing the life. Now, and this is one aspect of our life, and give an example in a particular case. What is expected of us to do with this particular case to see the general principles that we can derive from it? Not that particular person. Moses did this. Oh, okay. That is a particular case. What is the general principle? We have to ask. Moses threw his staff. It's one event. What is the general principle from it? If you pay attention to this principle of reading the Quran, your understanding of the Quran will change, definitely change, and radically change. Then the Quran will stop being a storybook for us, storybook or history book for us. Never. We will understand that these are the tip of the iceberg. And what is under the iceberg? Huge mountain. General principle. If you read the Quran in this way, you will be shocked, as I did. So, mentioning about what? Why do you think this is the rule in the Quran? Because without reading the Quran with this following this principle, the Quran becomes meaningless. Storybook, history book. That is why those people who read the Quran without paying attention to this principle, they read the event of the prophetic narrations, especially, or the sun and the moon. That's, let me see the sun. Let me see the moon. Yeah, but for what? In order to understand the constellations, it means galaxies and the huge universe. These are only representatives of the trillions of galaxies. Just one a representative, clearly seen by everyone. This is beautiful. Now, here is the last point. Why does it mention radiant light and illuminating moon rather than the sun and the moon? Now, another uh, secret of the Quran. It says Sirajan. Why don't you say the sun? Although in another verse says, وَجَعَلْنَا الشَّمْسَ سِرَاجًا. Siraja. So, and وَقَمَرَ مُنِيرًا, and وَجَعَلْنَا الْقَمَرَ نُورًا. But here, Siraj and Munir is especially mentioned. Remember the context and previous verses within the context now. What was the point? To introduce the source of existence to be the merciful one. And existence itself is nothing mercy. So we don't see the mercy in the existence of the thing. We see the mercy, what we benefit from them. What, for example, tree exists out there is different from when you pick up the fruit from the tree. Then it becomes so significant. Oh, this is this wood, but look, there is a fruit on its branch. Exciting. So when we see the result of it, then we realize how the mercifully the object is created. For example, when somebody says you, look, how can you behave this lady? Who is your mother? Look, this is very, how do you say, important example. This is your mother. What does it mean? Not as a woman, she is important. Being a mother makes her important because makes her be important because mother's merciful, compassionate treatment of you comes to your mind. Motherhood is reminded. So the when Kamer is Kamer, the moon, but illuminating moon. What? Kamer is nothing by itself. If it wasn't illuminating our night, and the sun is nothing by itself. If it wasn't really radiating the light to us, and everything becomes alive, everything becomes clear, our day becomes perfectly fitting to our expectations. Mercy is not in the creation of the sun, but in the creation of the sun with these qualities, radiating, spreading, diffusing the radiation of light. That is why it is mercy. Now, creation of the mountain is nothing, but when you see that because of the mountains, the snows on top of it, because of the mountains, we get the water during summer because snow is there. It's great arrangement. And because of the mountains, the earth is stable because really in the center of the earth is what? Magma, fluid. We will be like staying on a continuously shaking, trembling ship if there was no mountains. What if there was no mountains created? We will be just shaken. We understand. And also, because of the mountains, the air, the atmosphere is cleaned when the wind. So all the trees on the mountains really filters the dirt of the atmosphere. Because of the mountains, uh, the forests are created. And the forests are, because of this photosynthesis are created on these trees, they clean the atmosphere from carbon dioxide. Then we understand. Mountain is nothing but the benefits we get from them. This is why the Quran uses these benefits we are getting from the things that they are created for us, so that we will mention them. For example, Quran says on many occasions, we have created this and this and this and this and this. So for what? For what we have created them? And the conclude said, لَكُمْ وَلِأَنْعَامِكُمْ. It's a purpose. Yeah, for example, let's say, أنتم أشد خلقا أم السماء بناها رفع سمكها فسواها. رفع سمكها فسواها فجعل منها. When I think it doesn't come. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Anyways, now is that for you and for your animals to feed. It means, look, all these are created in order to just take care of your need for provision. And you're also animals, so they are benefiting from them. The results are told in the Quran usually. Inshallah, uh, if you have any question, I would love to hear you. Otherwise, I don't know whether we can start discussing this. We have 5 minutes, and afterwards, I know that it is iftar time is approaching. Everybody is busy, including myself. So let's come here. Then verse 62, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. وهو الذي جعل الليل والنهار خلفة لمن أراد أن يذكر أو أراد شكورا. أراد شكورا. And the translation is, and it is he who has made night and day succeed each other, revealing himself in his creation. Again, God, the name God is not mentioned here. وَهُوَ الَّذِي, and it is he who has made night and day. Good translation. It is he who has made. وهو الذي جعل الليل والنهار خلفة, succeed each other. There, it means the Creator reveals himself through this creation for anyone who desires to reflect or to be grateful. Now, think about this, he says. Reflect on it. And after reflecting, you will be thankful to him. After reflecting on it. وهو الذي جعل الليل نارا. Now, we understand the importance of day and night and day, and also uh, uh, night is mentioned first and then day is mentioned, because night is good for our sleep path. We don't want every time to be night. We want in a light day as well. So light and nahar, and the Quran also speaks about first maut, death, and then life. Because if there was no light, excuse me, if there was no night, we wouldn't appreciate day. If there was no death, we wouldn't appreciate life. We wouldn't even realize that we have life. So that is why the negative side is introduced first, and then expected us to reflect on the benefit in the creation of day as well, and also day and night. Of course, we know that day and night means what does it refer as far as we understand? Day and night. Usually, Quran speaks about the creation of the heavens and earth, and then day and night succeeding each other. Why do you think? An idea? An idea? Creation of the uh, earth, the sky or heavens and the earth represents the uh, space dimension of creation. Sky, heavens, and the earth. This is space is a dimension of the creation. Day and night draws our attention not only space-wise is universe is huge, but how about time dimension? You see the creation continues billions of years and everything is perfectly arranged for you. Why don't you reflect on it? Why don't you reflect on it? So again, another beauty. يذكر and يذكر. In fact, N geldi because N is there. يذكر. In fact, يذكر without N. So يذكر is the shortened way of saying يتذكر. In fact, the same structure. En يذكر if we in it is a real root meaning, a root form, يتذكر. But it is in Arabic, when it is used instead of يتذكر, يذكر, that means reflect on it, immediately you will understand. If it was يتذكر, think of it for a long time. But shortened way, meaning something else. And يذكر means as soon as you intend to reflect on it, you will definitely understand that you have to be grateful to it. So it's amazing. The Quranic way of speaking is amazing. Nothing static here, continuous change. But space-wise and time-wise, the previously space-wise is mentioned in the previous verse. In this verse, time-wise is mentioned, inshallah. And we will continue that. Anyone who desires to reflect now, because of this not using one letter, we have to understand this verse in this way. Who desires to reflect, immediately he will feel that he has to be grateful. The meaning changes. Now on the same direction, but beautiful way, amazing way. Just missing out, deliberately missing out one letter. It's amazing. So inshallah, we will go into details of this verse next week. But just some beauty of the Quranic language I wanted to share with you now today. Inshallah, let's stop here, and the time, is up. And iftar time, everybody is, including myself, getting ready for iftar. May Allah accept our prayers and especially during Ramadan, our fastings. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين